boy, this is gonna be a little bit of a talk. I warn you that this is gonna be one of those reviews that I feel like I have to talk about it very, very meticulously. So I just warn you there's gonna be a lot of spoilers in this film because, man, that I even have to talk about the ending. The movie in question is none other than Wonder Park. What can I say about Wonder Park? Now that I've seen this movie, it was like, so this is your movie that is competing with Captive State? I originally wanted to make a double feature with Wonder Park and Captive State on Thursday, but some certain circumstances just gave me only enough time for just Captive State. But then after a few days, I decided to finally watch Wonder Park. I'm not gonna lie, I went there semi-blind about the whole thing that this movie has, which I'll get to it. But what I will say is that Wonder Park is the latest Nickelodeon movie, in which I have this love semi-hate relationship with Nickelodeon. Don't get me wrong, I grew up with Nickelodeon in the 90s and early 2000s, and I really love some of the early shows that they have. I grew up watching Doug, Rocko's Modern Life. I grew up watching Hey Arnold. As for movies, they're really hit or miss, but I can't lie to say that even as a kid, I didn't like most of the Nickelodeon movies, both live action or sometimes animated. For example, I don't like Harry the Spy. Or in animation, I'm semi forgiving with Rugrats because I don't like the Rugrats. Sorry, I don't like the Rugrats. Even if I was a kid, I didn't like Rugrats. Jimmy Neutron, the one that was nominated for the Oscar, I find it okay. No big deal. The less we talk about Barnyard, the better. But now we got the what Nickelodeon considers the third CGI Nickelodeon film that it's gotten, and that is none other than Wonder Park. And when I early say that I went semi-blind, I wasn't kidding, because usually I never knew about this history behind it and all this stuff. I just thought that the teaser trailer it held my interest in enough, because the teaser, I'm not gonna lie, I felt kind of into it. It felt like it was gonna be something like an animated version of Tomorrowland. But I didn't hold my breath because, well, Tomorrowland was an interesting film. It was a little bit disappointing. Not terribly bad, but kind of disappointing. But it kind of felt that vibe, and there was this mystery in there in the teaser about this girl who somehow goes into this hidden fantastical amusement park that is kind of like Disneyland. And I was kind of into it. I mean, it could be fun. I went to Disneyland 2 years ago, and I had a lot of fun. And then came out the other trailers. And the other trailers, it kind of felt like it went into the brain age, saying that, oh, let's take off all the aura and the mystery and potential, and now let's make it an over-the-top kids film with try-hard jokes, everything bright color despite some dark areas here and there. And I was like, did the director did they change directors? I mean, what the hell happened? Did they kind of thought that putting some adult or serious themes into a movie is gonna scare off the kids? Speaking of which, it is just after the movie, after seeing the movie, that I made a little bit of a nugget of information in order to prepare myself for talking about this movie. And boy, that I didn't realize that this movie has no direction. And I'm not just meaning about the movie itself. The movie really doesn't have a director. Why? Because the original director, what was his name? Dylan Brown, which according to the Wikipedia page, he was fired. He was fired during the middle of the production, and apparently they didn't find anyone to replace him. So they go on a ship without a captain, and so there's no mention of the director, not even in the credits, which kind of amazed me. So this is kind of, I don't know if this is a first or something, that a movie just keep on going without a director. And well, the reason this guy was fired is because he had some, he was accused of sexual misconduct during his professional work. God, jeez, again. You know what? At this point, every single man in Hollywood should be castrated, because every single time there's this sexual here, sexual there, sexual misconduct here, sexual thing here. Jeez, what's this going on? I'm sorry for this little rant. It's every single time. But I'm not gonna talk about this guy. I'm gonna talk about Wonderland, and this is gonna be a very, very big spoilerific review. But I'll tell you this. Right on the get-go, I'll say that this movie is a total wonderful mess. Man, that this is a wonderful, messy potential. There are some things that I really would like to flesh out, but you notice that this movie it has too many things that it wants to do, but it kind of fails. But in order to tell you what this movie fails and what could have been, I think we should start out from the beginning. So what Wonder Park is about? And well, Wonder Park is, apparently there's this kind of like Disneyland world that is, well, Disneyland / Tomorrowland, in which it has these, I'm not gonna lie, some imaginative attractions that could come up from the imagination of a kid, or probably the Wizard of Oz, and yeah, it's full of people. It has animals. Actually, it runs this place. There is this bear who kind of looks like the blue bear of happiness. And there is this pig, or a boar, who has a little bit of leadership skills. She's played by Mila Kunis, who is better known as Meg from Family Guy. There are two beavers, and one of those beavers is played by Kenan Thompson. Basically, they're kind of like the carpenters or the mechanics of this place. There's also this porcupine named Steve, who he's voiced by John Oliver. I noticed because John Oliver has this voice like this. Oh, goody. Yeah, you're gonna notice the John Oliver voice. But the ringleader of this park is none other than a chimpanzee.
Monkey.
Yes, a monkey. No, it's a chimpanzee.
Monkey.
All right. If I slip saying monkey, it's gonna be monkey. Okay. This monkey is called Peanut. Who he plays? Let's see. Norbert Leo Butz. I don't know this guy. Sorry for a little bit of the noise. The cat is playing outside. Well, So yeah, it feels like a kind of like a big park, but apparently this park is all in the imagination of this little girl named June, and she has this big relationship with her mother, who they build up this co-op storybook playtime where they are building this park lane named Wonderland. Uh, okay. Maybe you notice that here's problem number one. During the whole movie, the park is called Wonderland. And they say it over and over and over and over again. And you might be thinking, oh, wait a minute. Isn't there a movie called Wonder Park? Yep. Then why the character are naming it Wonderland? I don't know. Maybe the movie was supposed to be called Wonderland, or according to a review that I just saw, the movie was supposed to be called Amusement Park. But then came Wonder Park, and apparently Nickelodeon / Paramount is lazy enough to make a reshot of the voiceover to change the word Wonder Park instead of Wonderland. They even have it on the animation part, so that's problem number one. And then, okay, what I was saying, the thing is that this mother and child, they kind of begin to think of imaginative ways to create the attractions, and they have their plush chimpanzee, in which they whisper the idea, and then we don't see if it's his imagination or is it real, but the monkey's like, ah, I see, so that's the idea. So with my magic pen, the golden pen, I just construct what they were thinking of. So yeah, basically, June and the mother, they have this relationship until June decides that she wants to make her dream story reality by creating Wonderland. And she recruits her couple of friends, and even probably the young version of the Hindi guy from Big Bang Theory, who he has a crush on her, and they decided to turn Wonderland into a reality. And with this, by collecting a lot of junk, they make this makeshift roller coaster that it kind of fails because she almost endangered herself. She causes a lot of property damage to the neighbors. And guess what? What happens? Did she get grounded? Not exactly. The mother's like, no, you're gonna do a lot of chores, and you're gonna promise that. I mean, you could have just been killed yourself. So let's make Wonderland, but a little bit safer. You know, if this was kind of like real life, the reaction will be a little bit stronger, because she not only endangered herself, but she endangered her best friend, and also let's not forget that they have property that they had to pay for the property damage. I mean, there's even the scene of the father, and who I want to mention that the father is voiced by Matthew Broderick, handing out the checks to every single one of them, and they didn't yell at her, or they have a very, very serious conversation, at least about the things that she did. I mean, they touch on it, but they didn't go through very, very exactly to give this character kind of like a very responsible thought. So basically, they kind of treat her like he's freaking Caillou. For those who doesn't know, it's a PBS show of a bald kid that he's a whiny brat, and the parents are like, okay, okay, you did fine. Okay, here's the thing. I understand that the best way for learning experience is by experience. But still, you have to teach the children how to be a little bit more careful with this stuff, especially when they're trying to build an amusement park. Because Oh, you know what? I'll get to that in a moment. So she decides to make more the amusement park kind of like a manic, you know, diorama mannequin, a little bit more safer, and they put it all around the house. Which, well, fine. That's actually a good alternative. But then we have to keep the plot advancing. The mother begins to get sick. Oh, and just in case, I am aware that this movie is gonna be very long, but bear with me. Because this movie is begging me to do it. So like I said, we get signs that the mother is getting sick. We see her going like, ugh. So in a way you see that we have the parallels to Up. Then we get a scene that she gets a call from the doctor, and the way she was reacting to all this is that it does feel like it is cancer. Usually you don't have to say that, but you probably might notice that yeah, she has cancer. She has cancer. They don't mention it. But let me tell you something. Someone with cancer, they should work a little bit more on how they look, because I've seen cancer. I've seen people with cancer. I've seen people with cancer in my life, and when they are in their terminal phases or in danger zone, they don't look exactly very healthy, I'll say. I'm not gonna mention who, but I'll say that it's very that I did have some close relatives, kind of like that. They didn't do that in the movie. They just kind of just make her have a little bit of eye bags, and that's it. This kind of makes me a little bit of a problem, saying that I know that they want to make a fun story that, for lack of better words, they just wanted to do it for kids. I'm the guy who always forgive tonal shifts or anything. Even I can say that we can make a very, very fun movie but it's surrounded by grief and everything, because honestly that's life. Life is full of joy surrounding by let's say very, very harsh stuff. It's kind of like finding the little joys in your home surrounded in World War II. But the thing is that the mother died by having cancer? Actually, no. She's been taken away to rehab. And then, right out of the blue, June, she just feels depressed. But the movie kind of treats it like she already died. And to that point, she is so distraught that she doesn't want to know. She abandons the Wonderland project and all this stuff. She dissed her friends and all this stuff. And then after her breakup sad moment, the father tries to console her, and then June kind of begins to act like has obsessive compulsiveness. She didn't begin to trust her father in that he's gonna do some clumsy thing, that he's gonna die. She's gonna always talk and say, you have to do this, and you have to be secure about this, the security have to do this. So she kind of becomes obsessive with being secure and all this stuff. And the father, I think that he sent her to math camp, kind of like a summer camp for mathematicians. Probably a dream come true for Sheldon Cooper. And I don't know, she kind of begins to worry that the father is gonna screw things up and that he might die if she's not around or something like that. And then comes, this is where there's another problem, in which I was thinking, do we exactly have a scene like that? Because there was no exact moment in which it shows that her father is really clumsy, or he can do things for himself, because we barely had a little bit of relationship between June and her father. It kind of tries to concentrate a lot in the mother. The movie could have worked if she had a little bit of a rocky relationship with the father, or let's say that we show scenes that the father is technically clumsy on lots of stuff, and and that makes that makes June worry. But no, we didn't get that. The least we get is that he just burned a toast. That's it. I mean, what is? I mean, come on, I can't buy that. I'm not asking the father to become Jerry from Rick and Morty, but if you want me to get invested of the panic attack of June, but because she even imagined that he's gonna feel so lonely eating pizza, drinking Aspire milk. I didn't buy it. But I will say that I give a little bit of a chuckle on the scene of the bus, that when the bus finally goes into their destination, one of the bags that was tied on the top of the bus, it just fell down to the street. I just kind of snickered out of it because I was still wondering who's the poor soul who lost his backpack. So anyway, June gets a panic attack because she doesn't trust her father that he's gonna be fine without her. So she decides to convince her Hindi friend who is in love with her. Oh, and by the way, movie, thank you for showing us in their face that yeah, he's Hindu, because there are times that the movie kind of makes us remind us that he's Hindi by making him scream, oh my Krishna, or in the scene of the where the parents are, saying goodbye for him leaving the math summer camp. You see them saying goodbye with Hindu font or something like that. Thank you, movie. You think that the audience can be even more dumb. So yeah, she convinced him to enact a plan where he's gonna fake that he's sick and vomits. So when he vomits in the middle of the road, everyone has to get out, because obviously vomit is smelly. And in a way, thank God, because if I have to stay in that bus, hearing out a lot of lame math puns, I will shoot myself. But the thing is that June takes the opportunity to escape, because she just wants to walk into the woods so she can go back. She can walk back home. And the funny thing is that the bus just leaves after all this. It just leaves, and in my head it's like, did they never ever make a head count? Oh, this camp is gonna have a lot of trouble. I know it's been a while that I've been talking about this movie, but bear with me that at this point I gotta admit this. What are my feelings of the movie in general? I'm not gonna lie, this movie is technically pretty bad, but there's one way you can get some kind of amusement with this movie, and that is by riffing it. Because when you riff this movie, it's super riffable. I gotta admit that you're gonna making fun of this movie kind of make me a little bit kind of like it made me entertained for the wrong reasons. It's a really bad. It's a bad movie, but man, the things that I can't wait to talk about it. Okay, continuing on. So she just walks around, and we see the scene of the teaser where she finds an abandoned roller coaster. And there, she finds Wonderland / Wonder Park, whatever you want to call it. But Wonderland it doesn't look good. The rides are damaged. Everything is kind of feels post-apocalyptic. And she finds her animal friends, except for the chimpanzee. And here's the thing. Here's what happened to the park. the park is the demise of the park happened because out of nowhere a cloud of darkness appeared. It's kind of like this giant purple vortex in the sky that it really vexed that it kind of looks like some kind of world, and probably if you go there, you go to the dark world of Kingdom Hearts. But it just appeared there, and apparently it kind of influences the plush monkeys that were introduced in the beginning of the movie. The plush monkeys from the park, they get possessed, and apparently they're destroying the park. They want to capture the beloved character. They capture the monkey, Peanuts the monkey, and they're wreaking havoc. And while the other animals are escaping, these plush monkeys, they call them monkey zombies. More than monkey zombies, in my mind, they were mostly look like the monkeys from Super Monkey Ball. That's what came into my mind most of the time. What else I can talk about the movie? So anyway, after mentioning the June is like, "Hey, I mentioned you guys. You guys are real." So yeah, so what the frick is happening? Oh, the dark thing happened. So what are you doing here? I don't know. I don't know. I just came here because one thing that I forgot to mention. This piece of paper that it is a piece of the blueprint that I constructed with my mother about Wonderland. Just directed to me. Because there was this early scene in which when she was pressured by her peers about Wonder Park, she just, in a fit of rage, she just burned the blueprint, and only one piece of the blueprint, and that it has a heart and the letters June drawn into it. It survived, and apparently this piece of paper became sentient, and that's what led June into Wonderland. And from that, they kind of mentioned that in order to get rid of the darkness, June has to let's say rebuild Wonder Park. But the problem is that she technically is not into it. She's not into this whole thing. Even the animals kind of begin to act a little bit out of character, what you usually think. Like, for example, the bear. The bear usually is active, but he's narcoleptic. He sleeps all the time. The beavers, they fight each other. But I don't know. The porcupine and the boar, they keep acting the same. So I don't feel like there is this huge threat into it. It just kind of there. It is once they enter this park, this is where you're gonna see a lot of the fault of the movie. Technically this is supposed to be the main part of the movie, and there you will notice the parts that this is where someone should have been in the production team, and he's like, "Hey, how do we get from this point to this point?" Or, okay, we saw the scenes from the beginning. So how the scene from the beginning is gonna affect this thing? And honestly, and unfortunately, things get kind of forgotten, and because you feel like that the issues that are happening from the beginning are there, but somehow it feels kind of less forgotten into kind of like the rest of the movie, I'll say. And if you want me to invest on the characters, it makes me really hard, I'll say. Let's face it, because one of the biggest complaints I have seen on the many of the reviews is that the animal characters, they don't look memorable. And yeah, I kind of agree that this is the importance of graphic design. That when you make graphic design, you have to make a character kind of stand out. I'm not gonna exactly complain too big about it. And trust me, guys, it's obvious that this movie is gonna look nice. The movie the movie looks nice. It is not in, perfect level of good animation, let's say, because there's some choppy moments here and there. It looks nice. Some of the character looks fine, I gotta admit. But here's the thing. It's too obvious. I think that at this point in time, saying a movie that it looks good is technically a free pass because 80% of the time, and in companies like Disney, Nickelodeon, or something like that, you're always gonna say, "Ah, it looks great. It looks beautiful." At this point, it's obvious. You're gonna get some quality some passable quality here and there. Unless you go with Disney, at least, because Pixar, Disney, and in many of their movies, you can see that they put a lot of extra effort. Nickelodeon is, I'm not gonna lie, Nickelodeon is usually very minimalist in their animation. And in a way it's admirable because anime is like that. Anime is very minimalist, and Nickelodeon usually is like that, and very minimalist production. Unless they become a little bit more passionate, like for example the Avatar: The Last Airbender. But again, it is a given. Usually, where the movie, when it comes, it also comes with a big responsibility on how the movie is shot. Which, unfortunately, the cinematography, it has a little bit too much of close-ups on the character faces. Sometimes the action goes a little bit too fast for that we don't see what the freak is going on. We don't follow the how quick the character goes. We lost sometimes our focus. Sometimes they go with some slow motion scenes just because, well, slow motion is impressive. The themes, the park itself. There's some times that I do applaud the imagination thing, but the way how they construct the park, it's something bugs me about it. The park, for all the imaginative that you see on the park, the thing that kind of nags me is that the movie kind of comes up by saying that about how this park is not safe. Well, in the beginning of the movie, June scrapped her elbow. She almost got herself killed and all this stuff. And then it kind of, I thought that the movie was going into that way, to show that we have to be a little bit more careful when you work on the rides. It technically doesn't go that way because, man, that this park is probably gonna be one of the most hazardous of them all. And let me tell you, constructing a theme park, even for Disneyland standards, is tough. And yeah, you have the fun, and you have to guarantee the fun, but also you have to guarantee the security measures, because, man, that if you don't do that, get ready for a lawsuit. You don't know how many lawsuits Disneyland has when an accident happens. Or Busch Gardens, those lawsuits. I think there was one. Oh no, now that I think of it, imagine Action Park. Yeah, just in case, I never saw Action Park. I know that many people hated it, but when I remember it, man, Sure, I know. Sometimes to teach your children, they must make some unsafe measures, because sometimes you learn faster if you kind of get hurt or something like that. But as human beings, we try to help children prevent that. But with all this prevention thing, you know what kind of remind me? Remember that South Park episode of Cartman Land? I wish they could have made that this movie could make that Cartman Land vibe. That, yeah, rides are fun and everything, but you still have to take responsibility on the managing of this.